and each Green Lantern says something different about willpower. Hal Jordan shows willpower overcoming fear, but unlike the other Lanterns, he's shown specifically overcoming mundane, relatable fears, ones that are present in an unstable life, so losing your job, troubles with your boss, friends passing away. I've made an entire analysis on this, so I won't go into much detail, but Hal constantly undergoes fearsome life situations, and is able to will his way through them without being phased. So he highlights the fearless angle of the Green Lantern concept more than any other. Gardner is about willpower being in excess. He's similar to Hal, but I see him as Hal taken to the extreme, being so fearless that he's bullheaded, being so confidently unfazed by everything that he's arrogant. I think that's why Hal and Guy come into conflict so much. Hal is looking at a shadow version of himself, with his willful traits exaggerated to an unhealthy degree. The key with Guy is that his willpower isn't tempered by anything like humility or restraint. Being arrogant involves imposing your will over others, and being foolhardy is when your will to act overpowers your thinking. Arrogant and foolhardy is exactly Guy, because his willpower is so strong and unrestrained that he's always just barreling forward over everything and over everyone. If Hal is about using willpower to handle instability in his life, John Stewart is the opposite in that he uses his willpower to create stability. That's why he's an architect, which is all about building stable structures, and why he was a sniper in the Marine Corps, which is all about having a stable position and keeping your aim and your breath steady. He's stoic and put together and disciplined and reliable because his willpower tightens his personality into being stable. In fact, his aura of reliability makes him a natural fit to work on a team like the Justice League. Now, there was one big occasion in which this worked against him, which was when he was inadvertently keeping himself paralyzed from the waist down. His paralysis was caused by him repressing the memories of accidentally causing his little sister's death. Repressing difficult emotions was John applying his willpower to keep himself stable, but in an unhealthy way, rather than allowing the tide of his emotions to affect him the way they naturally needed to. It's a good lesson that stability is not everything. The stability aspect may also be why John's costume features so much black on it. Black is a heavy color that gives him the visual feeling of weight, which is stable. Unlike Hal or John, who were very willful, special people before the Ring found them, Kyle Rayner was characterized clearly to be an everyman who was not special to begin with, who had to grow into the responsibility of being a Green Lantern. But paradoxically, that's the reason why he is so special. Kyle's story says that if you take a random person off the street and give them a weapon that requires lots of willpower to use, well, apparently they'll manage to grow into the role. What this ends up saying about willpower is this really pro-human, optimistic message about the average person, which I believe is true. The average person, you, and I'm talking to you directly, secretly has a tremendous amount of willpower that they use on a daily basis that isn't recognized very much. I see willpower as basically effort, which is to say the force you apply against resistance. And you push against resistance so much in your life that you don't even realize you're doing it. When your alarm goes off and you have to force yourself to get up, that's willpower. When you're sick but you still show up to work or school, when you feel insecure but you still go out and talk to people, that's your willpower. I know that every day has challenges for you and for everyone, and anytime we push against them, we're being like Kyle Rayner. We are normal people, but normal people have a deep well of willpower that gets them through life. If the Ring needs crazy willpower to work and an average guy is able to use it, then what does that say about the average guy? Now, you can argue that the Ring should only be something that special people with exceptional willpower can use, and it gets devalued if just anyone can use it. The kind of thing like, if everyone is special, then no one is special. And I guess that's fair. But I think the priority in 1994 was just to create an everyman Green Lantern character, and the incidental effect of that was producing a very positive view of the willpower of the everyman, which was satisfying and complimentary, and can make the reader feel good on some level. The large white region on Kyle's costume could fit into this perspective as signifying that the quality underlying the Green Lanterns is something universal and possessed by virtually everyone, the way that the color white is broad and universal since it contains all colors. But I think there are better explanations for that, like white representing a blank canvas, which suited Kyle as both an artist and as someone full of potential who had to develop his heroism from scratch. It's also important to mention Sinestro. Although he's evil, he was a Green Lantern once and is obviously a very willful person. It's good to emphasize that willpower itself is not necessarily a moral trait. It's just something that helps you accomplish your goals regardless of the character of those goals. This recharacterizes willpower as, indeed, a power of its own that carries its own responsibility. In other words, if you have a lot of willpower to accomplish your goals should be good things and healthy things and altruistic things. So as I see them, the characters show that willpower can make you fearless, too much of it can make you bullheaded, it can make you stable, It's possessed in great amounts by the average person, and it should be directed towards good. But there's one more thing I want to highlight. We talked about how Jon Stewart's willpower was applied unhealthily in the manner of repressing his emotions. This is a general hazard when it comes to trying to be willful. Things like willpower and discipline are dangerous because they carry this connotation that emotions need to constantly be pushed out of the way and ignored. If you're tired, willpower and discipline tell you ignore it and keep going. That can be a good thing, but feeling tired is a feeling. That is your nervous system communicating something to you. Now, overcoming your emotional urges can be important, obviously, but repressing emotions too much is very damaging. They fester and start coming out in subtle and harmful ways. I'd suggest that the ultimate in healthy willpower and healthy discipline is in accepting your emotions without judgment and without fighting them. This can be hard and it's not always possible, practically speaking, but it ends up making you a more well-regulated person.